Do humans hibernate is what I want to know, because every January about this time I just kind of start to shut down just a little bit. Like I can still chug along, but like there isn't anything extra. And all I want to do is like sit and absorb and not talk to anybody or do anything or go anywhere, which I guess is a one-to-one definition of depression, but it's not even like really being depressed. It's just like, just go away. I just want. And if I make videos in that state, they're not as good, because to make a good video, you have to kind of like mentally imagine there's another person there. And in the middle of winter, it's like I don't have enough for another person. I just have just enough for me. But we're doing it. So hopefully this is gonna be fun. Here, let me pop. So this is some footage I got a couple years ago in the Cyberpunk set, which I should probably take down at some point. It's been a mainstay in the end of the church for a little bit too long now. But yeah, we've got Caitlin walking across these stools, and I was gonna try to turn them into like chimney tops, kind of all Dick Van Dyke jumping around up there, and I did that. Okay, so this is where I was at a couple of years ago. Just replaced the stools with these things. It was a quick roto job. This is all the original background. I guess this is new, but I had all my wires piled up everywhere. As in my wires piled everywhere phase, where none of these are doing anything. It was just kind of supposed to read as like dimensional texture or something like that, but. It all just looks a little bit cluttered, and I've been trying to write my own soundtrack, which is maybe a bad idea, but I'm doing it. And at this point in the music's kind of like, hey, look at the world, things are exciting, let's explore, as she's walking over like what looks like a garbage pit. And so I thought, what if you can also see in between the slats of like the two flats here, there's kind of just a little bit of background, and it just doesn't look great. So I thought, what if we try to open it up just a little bit? And Adobe After Effects just released their new, oh geez, you guys, I tried recording this video the other day. I could not think of any words. Just the black box where you have an intention and words come out of your mouth was not supplying the words, and it was the absolute worst. Cue the brain fart. No, After Effects has the new roto brush, which is this, it's great for just quickly rotoscoping, and it can identify, it can extract hairs and like mustache bits and things like that, and it's really clever. They've just updated it, so it's a lot easier to use now, and it uses machine learning, so it's even smarter. And so I was able to use that to roto the legs, like within 15 minutes. So yeah, and I learned a little bit more since then, too. I kind of had a little bit too much color blending and motion blur going on here. The background is just a temporary thing to kind of show neutral values. And I was going to make a video showing how I lined up all the geometry with this, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because the end process was just a lot of realignment and tweaking and all of that. I didn't, it was just brute forcing, not particularly fun, but this is where it's at. And again, this is in log. And so it's a high dynamic range format, and so for the final thing, we'll crop it in so we'll have actual bright blacks, bright whites, and dark blacks. If you don't know what log is, I should probably do a little cable sim here just to make this a little more dynamic. You can see it's just like a PNG that's sliding around really weirdly, but it's not particularly noticeable. But yeah, this background I like every shot to have something that hasn't been seen before. I don't want to just make everything too copy and pasty, and this just feels totally like filler background to me. And I always want there to be a feeling that, like, if she were to veer to the right and run into the distance, there'd be actual stuff there and not just like random, gray cityscape. So I thought, what if we try to add like a barbershop type thing back here? And you can see, because it's really blurry, we actually wouldn't even have to do that much. I could just add a couple, like glowing text things and be done with it. But let's go a little bit more nuts than that, because otherwise this wouldn't be very fun. And we're going to go through a bunch of different techniques. Sorry this has already taken a long intro, but yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first I'm going to make a little storefront here, and if you want to see exactly what I'm doing, you can just kind of look at the keys down here. But I'm just kind of try to bash something out, and first I want to just kind of be able to extrude everything, so I'm just going to lay everything out first. And these are kind of like folds. You can think of it like origami. It's not origami. That sounds pretentious. Origami is an actual crazy skill. But I'm kind of lining everything up and trying to figure out how to... Maybe this will be like a bay window type thing. And so what I have here this will be, I'll just extrude it in, and then I'll pull these ones back, and this will be kind of like the doorway. Here, let's widen that up, and this will be like a little, yeah, bay window area. We'll extrude that out a little bit, and then I'll just pull these ones here. Yeah! And maybe I'll select this whole edge. Not these bits. And extrude that out. I'll turn all of these into windows here. Which is, well, first let's Alt-E, extrude individual faces. Just push them out a little bit. Inset, extrude. The trick for window frames is just give them some layers. There we go. And we'll create a new material here. New, this will just be storefront, and then another one, it'll be glass. And assign all of these to glass here, and I guess we can just get right to it and make it glossy. There we go. We might actually make it reflective at some point, but this could be kind of fun. Maybe there's like an air conditioner thing up here that sits above that with like a little pipe that'll go down below. It's like all this bevel. Oh, that's what pipes look like, yeah. Here we'll add a little push bar. We won't even be able to see this. I'm not making this for that shot. I mean, I am, but I want to try to make this kind of decent. So we might just kind of let ourselves get a little bit more over the top than makes sense if we were just trying to make it for, you know, the distance I was just showing you. So let's add maybe a little key box or something, like a little fire alarm. I don't know. Cool. Okay, that's a decent storefront. If we want, we can add like a little sidewalk down here. I like just grabbing geometry from like nearby that's already along the right axis so that I don't have to like create a cube and then line it all up. Because I found that most of the time I spend modeling is actually trying to just line up things in 3D space, where I think working in VR could actually be really efficient because you can just put something somewhere and you don't have to keep rotating around everywhere to be like, all right, where am I actually? But yeah, let's grab this and cool. All right, let's grab a material. So with our store, no, we're going to save Barbershop. Yes, that was a close one. Do you guys remember that one time? I do often. Alright, let's go into textures, and let's just grab, we don't have to try too hard with this one. We'll just grab this guy. Actually, let's try this one. It already kind of has a lot of storefront going on, but maybe we can make that work for us. We'll see. Alright, let's slide open a new space here. Go UV editor. And we'll load in our picture, yeah. And for this one, we'll just hit U, cube projection. Go into material view, and let's see. Wow, that's great. That's it. That's what we wanted all along. I'm gonna line up the ground here. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna select this whole ground space. Hit U, cube projection, and I'm just gonna try to see what happens if I stick it down here on the ground. Hey, that works pretty good. Nice. Here, let's grab this edge loop here, alt-clicking on it, and hit Control+ on the numpad to expand the selection. And if I hit U, cube projection, let's put that, yeah, we'll grab more of, that's a good little area. I like lining up the seams of where, like, the ground, you know, the edges in the ground are, so you get all of that texture detail just for free. Alright, let's see what happens if we can expand this a little bit. I think, honestly, I want a wider... is this a separate object? Just want to expand the door frame a little bit, so maybe this is kind of a weird way to do it. Yeah, that's a little... Deselect all of these, deselect all of these. Okay, now expand until there we go. If I hit U, project from view, hopefully we can just kind of line this up with this door frame real quick. Ooh, I love this grill, that recessed grill up there at the top. That is very cool. Yeah, that's looking good. Let's add that. Yeah, you project from view, grab the grill. Ooh, actually they have the grill over here too. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, here, let's duplicate that. I'm gonna bring this out to make room for the grill to be. Pop in there, yeah. And then make it maybe a little taller. Cool. Let's just, yeah, we'll grab this face, slide it back there, bring it down. And you project from view, slide it over here. Maybe do the same thing here on the sides. This isn't signage. I guess I'll just call this making a barbershop as opposed to making the sign. This was going to be just about the signage, but honestly, this part's seeming pretty fun to me. Okay, and let's see if we can create like kind of a structure for them to be sliding in using our handy friend wireframe modifier. So for some modeling some stuff, everywhere there's an edge, there's going to be a basically a wire, and so I'm just setting up what I think could kind of look good scaffold wise. Okay, and the wireframe modifier applies to the whole object, so I'm going to select all of this and hit P, separate by selection. Now it's its own object. Here, let's get rid of these materials here and say, no, you're just dark. You're dark and metallic, but rough. Yes, that's what metal looks like. Under modifiers, let's apply a wireframe. Thicken it up, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Actually, what we should probably do is put some wires. We could put some iron bars in front of here too, but I guess this covers that. The shutters, of course they do. Cool. Let's see. Is there already an air? It'd be nice if there were already like an air conditioning thing in this. I guess there's that. That's kind of cool. Here, let's hit U, cube projection, and just line that up with. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. We've got this kind of glossiness going that shows that it's very smooth. So I might just turn down the specular completely, and so we just have our image texture left. And if we want, we can clean up, you know. Whoop. I guess I gotta select it by hand. Let's see here. U, cube projection. Let's just stick it somewhere nice and nondescript. Yeah, that's working good. Again, see, just lining it up with that window frame right there gives us all of this extra detail. And then I like to work iteratively, where then you can take that and you can like then use that detail to keep modeling the scene, which is nice. I guess I didn't do that particularly well, but you get what I'm saying. And in fact, if we wanted, we could go through here and kind of like knife tool it, and then extrude this up, bring it back down. That stretching is weird. I wonder if I can just, if I control click here, it'll use the shortest path between the two to let me select that whole loop. And so now I can kind of, I guess I'm just having it be a little edge. Yeah, that looks fine. This duplicated bit is a little bit weird on the front, but I'm not stressing about it. All right, so saving, and here, let's clean up this little bit right here. Just get right there. Yeah, that's good. So that's a decent storefront. This window seems dark. Yeah, there we go. Now the signage. First, let's create a barber pole. Uh-oh. That window should be storefront. Okay, so I'm going to open up another version of Blender here because you can copy and paste between open Blender programs really easily. And so sometimes it's nice, instead of having to go into local view or whatever, just get a whole new thing here. And what I want to do is create just red and white stripes. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that, but I think we're just going to do it with geometry. So I'm going to create a plane here. I'm going to add some edge loops. Here, we can turn on the screencast. Not that I'm doing anything complicated, but you can select all of this and go select, check or deselect. And so create a new material that'll apply to everything by default, then create a new one. and it will only assign to what's selected right now. And so we'll just make this one red. And if we have the, well, I guess right now it's reacting to light, like it gets a highlight there, and we want this to be perfectly flat. And so I should change these to be emissive, which means we have to make this red again. Cool. Okay. And I could probably just screen capture this, but let's set up our camera here. And I'm going to make it an orthographic camera, so there's no perspective. Hit Alt-R to cancel out the rotation. Stick it over there. And under the camera settings, I'm just going to zoom in. And here, let's make it square. 1080 by 1080. And I just want it so that it'll tile. I need the top of the camera to be at like the top of a red line, and the bottom to be at the top of a white line. So I can just, I guess we're already really close here. Zoom in just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Hit F12, render, Alt S, save. Where should I save this? We'll save it in Patreon. Barbershop, as I said, this is not the first time I've done this. Stripes. I've got way more syllables invested in this one, though. Let me tell you. And in the end of the day, that's what matters, is the syllables. Okay, so making a new cylinder here. Let's say, 30, it's fine. I modeled probably too low poly. I'm going to go into local view, hitting slash on the numpad, and we've made, look at that, we've made a pole. I'm going to right-click, shade smooth, which means I also want to go into the object data normals properties and check auto smooth, just to keep everything from being too smooth. Create our new material here, the pole, and it's going to be an image texture, and of course we are going to be using Barbershop? No, it's not open? Okay. Patreon, Barbershop, stripes. Oh, I don't know if this is the old one or the new one. Doesn't really matter. And so by default it has already unwrapped, you know, the cylinder, but this is what it looks like. But let's redo it. From a side orthographic view like this, let's hit U, cylinder projection, and that unwraps it like, you know, you unwrap things. And, oh no, the red is at both the top and the bottom? Did I mess that up? Oh, I absolutely did. Some of you at home were probably watching that frustrated. Like, Ian, you're messing up. Now I have to wait for you to realize it. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Alt-S. Oh, F12. Alt-S. Stripes. Save. Go. Back. Here. Cancel. Open. Reload. Done. Okay, good. So now if I rotate this, we find, where's the seam? We just rotate it until it lines up. Cool, that's pretty good. Let's see, I'm going to scale it down. I want bigger stripes. Yeah, and then it doesn't line up perfectly, but that totally works. I'm going to go into the shader editor here, and because I have Node Wrangler enabled, under preferences, under the add-ons, and if you don't have it enabled, enable it. I can just hit Control-T, and it pulls open the mapping stuff, and this is basically just showing what this node is doing by default, but now we can tweak it. So if we change like the location of the UV map on the image, it's sliding across the image, which gives us this spinning barber pole effect, and we can actually animate that. I'm going to hover over that and hit I. Then I'm going to go later, change it up, hit I again to add another keyframe, and now it animates. Woo! Animates very quickly. Whoa, maybe too quickly. I'm going to hit Shift-E, linear extrapolation, and that's going to make it just like continue going for all eternity. But that's looking pretty good. And normally this would be inside of like a glass tube, but I'm just going to turn up the specular and turn down the roughness and turn up the clear coat, and that looks like it could be inside something. Okay, so cursor's still at the center there. I'm going to add another cylinder. Let's create the little bit that it's inside of, or, you know, just a little frame for it. I'm going to do that with the typical, like, extrude, scale, extrude, scale, extrude, 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 extrude. I'm going to select these, Alt and Alt. Control-B to bevel. Oh, the fact that the bevel is applying kind of flat like that means we have to apply the scale. And now it'll kind of work. Cool. Right-click, shade smooth, go down here, auto smooth, and I'm going to grab, I guess, this edge right here, flatten it out, Just extrude. Woo, come on. Extrude that. We're going to make a little mount for it. Cool. Alright, here we'll make this just dark. And we've got our little animated barber pole. Excellent. Save. So let's stick this around the windows. Guess this is where it would normally be. I kind of like want to milk the asset though, so maybe we can like. Actually, I think I kind of want this taller. Can see if we can frame the whole situation in it somewhat. Yeah, that's looking cool. Okay, now let's create a little vinyl sticker for the front of this guy. I guess they used to be hand painted, but now they'd probably be vinyl cut stuff. So I'm gonna create a curve, a circle. Let's go to the top view. We'll go back into local view and text. Call this zip snips. Oh yeah, that's probably already a thing. It seems like it. And okay, how do we do this? I can never remember. Is it under modifier? We had a curve. We select our circle, and look at that. Zip snips has come to life. I like that Z. That's kind of a zoom. It's a very 90s children's programming situation. I'm into it. Actually, let's squish this down a little bit. Make it an oval. I want to kind of get that retro feeling a little bit. Let's try changing the font to like, this could be a time for Cooper. Cooper? Cooper! Oh, we can just type this. Yes. Oh, yes. Zip snips. And if we go underneath, it's upside down, but we can scale Y, -1. And, uh-oh, now it's backwards. We'll have to go back the other way. There we go. Where neighborhoods get haircuts. Shrink it down. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna select this circle, duplicate it, and hit F3, convert to mesh. And now we've got our a little mesh ring here, which we can use for a little bit more logo design. So I'm just going to, let's see, I'm gonna hit F, and then inset, inset, inset. Yeah, and I'm gonna delete these faces, and we got our little logo here. Let's do some scissors, because that is the international sign also for Barbershop. So I'm just importing this as reference here. I mean, I guess we could just use it, actually. That looks not bad. Oh, I don't know if I have permission to use it. I don't remember. Here, I'll get a plane going here. Put it down underneath. And in edit mode, I'm just going to try to cut out the scissors really quick and see if we can make this look okay. It turns out that they say early barber poles also used to be like the village doctors. And so they would do a lot of bloodletting because that was kind of their go-to back in the day, in the Middle Ages. And so they would just wrap the bloody bandages around the white pole. And that would be how, or that's where that red and white striped pole came from, which sounds not true to me. That sounds like one of those stories that somebody came up with, and everybody's like, "Ooh, that's a good story. That's canon now for the Middle Ages." But maybe it's real. I like those weird symbols and stuff. I like it when people don't even know where they came from. It's just, or when they appear in like multiple cultures, and it's like there's just something in our human biology that thinks that this symbol should mean haircut. That is not actually an example of that, but I'm getting too detailed with these scissors. I should have used the original picture. It's okay. I filled it with amazing barbershop lies. Okay, so now I can select all this negative space here, delete it, and delete that original JPEG, and that's what scissors look like. Cool. And here, let's make all of these, I guess we should do kind of some sort of red. I want to do kind of a rich dark red. Select all of this and link the materials. Should we add some hours? Here, we'll do that. Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 p.m. Cool. Alright, so let's take all of this and... Oh, this one's way up high. Alright, so I'm just going to select this and hit SZ to scale on the Z-axis to 0. It's all scaled to 0. And now it's all flat. I can... Where's my other words? Uh-oh. I've lost my words. They were here. I scaled them to 0. Oh, okay. They didn't like being scaled to 0. Well, don't know why that is, but I also don't have to find out why that is. We'll just rotate it like this and stick it. Dividing by 0 or multiplying by 0 is probably never a great idea. Zip snips. Cool. Let's grab it and stick it over here on the door too. And while we're at it, let's grab it like this. I'm going to create a new camera. We're going to do kind of what we did before. Set it to orthographic. And I just want to grab this logo. Zoom in. Get rid of that. This where neighborhoods, I should have just said get haircuts had to be a little bit larger, like probably compositionally, but that's okay. I'm gonna turn on transparency. And if I hit F12, will it render with enough? Yes, it does. Okay, so Alt S. I'll save this here under Barbershop. This will be the logo. So now I can delete all of that. We've got our logo. We can make a little sign going on. So let's make something that kind of matches that same shape. Actually, here, I'm gonna bring this back and I'm just gonna model right over the top of that. With here we'll go nuts. Yeah, just kind of matching that oval a little bit. This may not be the best looking thing of all time, but it should work. Okay, so this will be the frame, and then we will inset and extrude that back, and this will be the signage, which will be an emission thing because we want it glowing just a little bit, probably only 0.5, and color will be, well, that'll be a little bit interesting because I say this with an alpha channel with certain thoughts in mind. I mean, I could just parent this to the thing. It's basically already done. Should I just do that? Or should I? Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. No need to make things more complicated than they need to be. Cool. And apply this to signage. Yeah, I'm glad. That was a good idea. All right, parent that to that. If I wanted here, we can load in, instead of just this flat gray, we can add an image texture. And let's just find like a metal front. Yeah, that'll be good. And then apply the scale and hit U, maybe just cylinder projection. And that looks like a sign. We could just stick it up here at the top. Or we could have it kind of sticking out from the side. Yeah, we'll do it like this. Should we make these glow? Should those glow? Oh, I'm gonna drag this down to emission, and now I think they'll glow. Which might look a little bit too whatever, but here, let's jump over to CPU. Let's see what this looks like rendered. That's kind of cool. The reflections will look better once there's actually something to reflect, and also, I have not lined up the signs with the glass. So let's drag this back. Pop. This one I thought I did have lined up, though. I guess not. Pop. Okay. There we go. That's a decent looking barbershop. Oh, now they're gone? I wish it were easier. Sometimes it does that, where it does this pop when it's behind something. But it does that at the wrong time. And so, yeah, when I zoom in and the depth resolution increases, it suddenly disappears. So I think I have to zoom in and then I slide it until it pops. There we go, and now it should work. It's misleading and tricky that you have to do that, you know? I don't even know if I can see it though. Whoa, what's even going on? Let's see if it renders now. Huh. I am a little annoyed that this is being so problematic here. The thing is, you want it close, because, and I could use a shrink wrap modifier or whatever, you know, and it would be fine. It's just, you shouldn't have to do that. Okay. There we go. We'll just do it in rendered mode. We are good. Let's put a little recessed lighting up here. Extrude, create a new material here. I like that kind of mercury vapor or whatever fluorescent deal. I know fluorescents aren't mercury vapor, but you get what I'm saying. One of those cooler temperature deals. Assign. How's that look? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Now if we wanted, we could go full nail salon and add kind of some cool lights wrapped around the windows, and I think that would actually give it quite a bit of depth. And we're less than half an hour in, so let's do it. This is kind of based off of a tutorial I was talking about a while back. Oh yeah, we'll just put this right here over the door. That's good. But it's a technique I'm still really into for animating a bunch of lights really easily. So first, I'm gonna make just a little LED bar. Here we go into local view. Scale this out. Extrude. Inset, extrude, cursor deselected. Gonna create a little cube. This will be like our LED, I guess. Bevel it down into something kind of more ball-shaped. And I'll just eyeball it. Sometimes array modifiers are good, but other times that can work just fine. Alright, so the background will be dark. And all of these balls, select them, create a new material, new, assign, LEDs will be emission. And how does that look? Beautiful. It looks beautiful here. Now we can make them like, oh yeah, that's a good color. Okay, so how do we animate these? Actually, I'm gonna line these up in the window first. Here, let's hide this object. Oh, here we go. Stick this here, and I guess this should be inside the glass, but we'll have it on the outside because the glass is not actually see-through right now. All right, so I'm just gonna duplicate this and start arranging it in the window. Pretty good. Cheating it down just a little bit. Okay, do the same thing here. And I'll grab all these bottom ones and stick them up here at the top, maybe just overlapping. Sometimes it's okay to get a little sloppy because maybe they were a little sloppy in real life when they were hanging up these guys, you know? Alright, let's try to line these up with these windows. And this is where working in VR, where you can actually just get a sense of depth and everything, seems pretty cool to me. The easiest way to do this. Cool. Alright, select all these. And I probably should have tried animating these lights before I set them all up, but this might still be fine. Okay, so I don't need any of these upper bits here. And maybe I'll animate them and then I might stick some around the door as well. And the way we're going to do that is with some funky UV unwrapping. So I'm going to hit Control-T to load in an image texture here. And I made a picture. Let's see, is it here in the Patreon folder? Just a second. Oh, here it is. Here it is, Flicker Controller. Yes! And so the same way we animated the barber pole, we are going to animate these lights. Let me slide open a UV editor here with the Flicker controller, and if I select just the LEDs and hit U project from view, we get that same grid. And here, I'll go into this mode. You can see if I move it over the image, that same pattern is being reflected in the LEDs. So I can put them all in this black bit and they're all off. Or I can slide them into white and they're on. Woo, woo. And if I were to like stick them here and just slide them on this axis, you can see the lights are passing across the entire scene, which is kind of cool. And so what I want to do is unwrap all of these. I want them chasing around. So I'm just going to turn them all into a straight line here. Let's do this one first. There might be a more efficient way of figuring out this part, but I think it goes like that. Yeah. Cool, so there's one. Now we'll do this bit here. And that one light will just be weird. And if you want, I mean, you can just stick one of these in like a black row, and so you just have a few bulbs that are just out all the time if you want to add a little bit of randomness. Alright, so now all of those are in a straight line. And again, if I'd made this one window before the other one and just copied it over, I wouldn't have to set this up more than once, but that's okay. I wish there were a hotkey for just snapping things to 90-degree or 180-degree rotations, you know? Because that's most of what I'm trying to do. Okay, I've got all of these lined up here, and right now, if you zoom in, it's very possible to get a light that's both, like, on the white and black, like that. And so I'm going to go into individual origins, scale them all down to be basically just sampling 1 pixel. And now I'll go back into medium view, and let's see. So now, if I move this like this, up and down, all the lights chase around, which is kind of cool. And again, we can do that just by animating this value, which again, it's not actually moving the UV map on the image, it's adding this value to the mapping coordinates, and so it's effectively the same thing. So we'll add our 1 keyframe here, we add another keyframe, we slide it and add another keyframe, select our lights and our node, we can see our keyframes down here, Shift E, linear extrapolation, maybe we'll make it go a little faster. Yeah, that's good. Right now, I think this is going into color. We actually want to go into strength. And right now, this is going to give us a max value of 1, where if we want it brighter, we have to go converter, math, and multiply it by whatever you want. Let's just say by 5, and then the lights will be a little bit brighter. And let's see how that looks rendered. Whoop. This is tacky. The pink lights, and the red, and the green, and the white going on. This sign doesn't look particularly good, but we'll just keep it small. It'll be fine. Maybe we make the pink. That's too many colors involved here. We could try matching. Ooh, that's kind of nice. I guess kind of Christmassy. What if we just go straight red? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this. Flatten it out a little bit. I'm just going to try sticking some of these in the door here. Alright, and let's see what this looks like in Eevee. It's great! It's animated. We've got some funky stuff kind of going on in there. So I'm gonna paste this into the scene. Okay, so here's the scene. This is an image from photobash.org, which I reprojected with FSpy, and I'm gonna try just pasting it right down in here. So let's select all of this, copy, just tab over, paste. There we are. We'll just stick it right in there. I'm kind of trying to match the right scale. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And let's grab some of these other bits here since we got them. Just kind of help stick it in here a little better. I think this place has some. Did it have some? Yeah, we'll grab this awning thing too. Stick it over the top. That'll help integrate it. Oh. try that. I don't know. Maybe trying too hard at this point. Yeah, that's looking good. Let's see what it looks like from the camera's perspective. I think the texture might be too bright because everything else is gray. So here, I'm gonna save this and select storefront, and under the shader editor, I'm just gonna pull in a color ramp or an RGB curve. And just pull that down. Yeah, that's a little bit more. That's a little bit more neutral. And let's see. What's the best way to do this? I might just render like a 10-frame loop and stick it in the background. So just a second. And okay, so this is it with the depth of field on, and you can't really see any of our signage. I mean, you'll get the sense of it. You'll see the lights moving, you'll see the barber poles moving, but like that. But that's okay, because that just means we're sitting on a barbershop asset that I know I can just stick in another scene without it feeling as if I'm just using the same assets over and over. So this is actually kind of cool. So let's yeah, I'll render out this 10-frame loop. All right, I ended up doing some funky stuff in the comp. So I added in the original render here, but it was just so blurry that I ended up doing another render instead of it closer up like this, where everything kind of reads a little bit more. But I also kind of liked having the old render there, so I shifted the colors, the hue of the reds, and so it looks like kind of a different render. And I figure if I just get rid of this circular sign, you can't really tell that anything is repeating. Also, I isolated these guys and just slowed them down and reversed them to be, you know, like 1/4 the speed. So when you see it all together, oh wait, no, they should be going slower. There we go. They're chugging along, and I feel like that looks like two different businesses. They both have very similar LED signage around their windows, but I don't know. I hate deleting something once it's already been set up, and this way we get a little bit of the sign going on. It reads as a barbershop if you're looking close, and so let's see how it looks rendered. Okay, and here's the final shot. She climbs down the ladder, walks across the stuff, and there we go. Not bad for piece of plywood, some joint compound, and some paint. I should talk about this set at some point in more detail if I haven't, because it only costs like $300 to make the whole thing, and we made a whole bunch of set for that. And I've been able to build a bunch of different sets out of it because it's kind of modular. You can see I went back and I re-rendered this real quick just to make the barber pole timing line up, but and dim some of this other background stuff so it isn't so obvious. But yeah, add some life, and I'm feeling good about it. So well, I exported the whole thing here. But anyways, hope there was something fun in there. I will talk to you soon.